Ever wonder how some traders turn market chaos into pure profit, while others, well, they lose everything?
Today, you're going to meet three of those legends: Brian Gelber, Tom Baldwin, and Tony Saliba. From surviving the 1987 crash to dominating the T-bond pits, their secrets just might change the way you see the markets forever. Let's dive in.
All right, so first up, we've got Brian Gelber. Now, this guy wasn't your typical loudmouth trader screaming in the pit. Nope, he was the total opposite. He was the listener. While everyone else was shouting about what they thought would happen, Gelber was just quietly listening, and that skill made him a fortune.
So, did all that listening actually pay off? Oh yeah, big time. Picture this. It's Black Monday, 1987. The market is in a total freefall, pure panic everywhere. And what's Gelber doing? He's calmly pulling in $4 million in just 20 minutes. In this quote, this gets right to the heart of how he operated. He knew deep down that his ego was the absolute enemy. He wasn't in the business of being right, he was in the business of making money. Period. If that meant admitting his great idea was a total dud and he had to follow some other trader's hot hand, he would do it without even blink.
So how'd he do it? Well, he would talk to about 25 different traders every single day. He learned to read their voices, their biases, their fear. If he heard that everyone was getting nervous and selling, he'd probably start buying. You know, he was so successful yet so under the radar that when another trader got a magazine cover for making millions, Gelber just joked, "Hey, how come I'm not on a magazine cover?" He didn't care about the fame, just the profit. And he lived by one simple, unbreakable rule: never, ever add to a losing position.
Okay, so from the quiet listener, let's switch gears completely. Meet Tom Baldwin. This guy was a whole different animal. He dominated the T-bond pit not with his ears, but with sheer raw force of will. To him, trading wasn't a financial calculation, it was a high-stakes sport, and fear was not part of the game.
And his story is it's the definition of fearless. It's 1982. The guy has zero experience. He takes his entire life savings, just 25 grand, and jumps straight into the pit. Most people would have been eaten alive in a week. Baldwin? He became a millionaire in less than a year. Just incredible.
So what was his secret? How did he handle that kind of pressure? It was all in his head. He learned to completely detach himself from the money. For him, it wasn't $1 million on the line. It was just a position, like points on a scoreboard. By refusing to think about what that money could buy, he sucked all the fear out of the equation. It allowed him to act when everyone else was frozen. Now this is where it gets really interesting, right? You've got these two guys, Gelber, the patient swing trader playing the long game, listening to his network, and then you have Baldwin, the scalper, in and out of trades in seconds, relying on nothing but his own gut feel. It's just perfect proof that there is no one secret formula. It's about finding the style that clicks with your own personality and then mastering it.
And finally, we get to our third wizard, Tony Saliba. I like to call him the architect. Why? Because this guy didn't just trade, he built an absolute fortress of profit. And the foundation of that entire fortress was meticulous, obsessive risk management.
And the results of his architecture? I mean, they're just staggering. He managed to profit over $100,000 every single month for 70 months in a row. That's almost 6 years. That is not a hot streak. That is not luck. That is pure, systematic, relentless discipline.
But here's the thing. His career started with an absolute, near-total disaster. He gets a $50,000 stake, quickly runs it up to 75 grand, and he's thinking, "I'm a genius. This is easy." But he was taking on huge risks he didn't even understand. And within weeks, his account imploded, down to just 15 grand. He said he felt so bad he would have traded places with victims of a plane crash. That's rock bottom. And that humbling, painful experience is what forged his discipline. So how did he climb out of that hole? He became a student, a real geek about risk. He mastered these complex strategies, like the butterfly spread. Now, you don't need to be an options expert here. All you need to get is why he used it. To build a trade where he knew, before he even placed it, the absolute maximum amount of money he could possibly lose. He wasn't gambling anymore. He was engineering.
And that brings us to his most powerful rule. By always defining his risk up front, he just let go of the worry. It freed up all his mental energy. He could walk into the pit every day totally clear-headed, with a clean slate, ready to pounce on opportunities. Like the 1987 crash while everyone else was panicking. So let's pull back. We've got the listener, the fearless, and the architect. 3 totally different guys, 3 totally different approaches, but all of them legendary successes. So what's the common thread? What's the winning code here?
When you boil it all down, it comes back to these 3 rules. Number 1, suppress your ego. Just like Gelber taught us, it's not about being right, it's about getting paid. Number 2, master your fear. Whether you do it like Baldwin by detaching or like Saliba by defining your risk down to the penny, the goal is to trade with your brain, not with a knot in your stomach. And third, and maybe most important, do the work. This wasn't magic. It was all hard work, preparation, and what Saliba called his homework, thinking through every possible disaster before it happened.
So, in the end, the real secret of the trading wizards isn't some magic formula. It's not about being a bull or a bear. It's about becoming a student. A student of the market, sure, but really a student of yourself. They mastered their own minds before they ever mastered the markets. They didn't guess, they prepared. Which leaves us with one question for you. What are you a student of?